It's time for Dodger baseball.
Sandy into his windup. Here's the pitch. Swung on and missed. A perfect game.
High fly ball into right field. She is gone.
The Dodgers are an iconic brand with an extraordinary legacy and extraordinary history in the world of sports, not just locally or even regionally or even domestically, but internationally. It really is that big a deal. For a guy who does what I do, this is a unique, once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. But also culturally, as we know, there's no sports team in America ever that has had the impact on society that the Dodgers have had because of a lot of things. Obviously, the breaking of the color barrier, the prominence of maybe the greatest LA Dodger ever was Jewish. Those kind of things aren't associated with your average franchise, but they do speak to the identity of the Dodgers. This gigantic metropolis has so many of these demographic groups, and of course the Jewish population is large and prominent here, so Sandy Koufax or Shawn Green are going to have greater impacts here than anywhere else that they possibly could.
When did you realize in the ball game that you had an opportunity to break the record?
It's hard to say. Probably when I had 14, I realized you have an opportunity.
The history of the civil rights movement is very much intertwined between African American leaders and Jewish American leaders. That just goes all the way back. As a guy who has lived for the last 35 years in Atlanta, I'm real familiar with the history of that movement. Jackie Robinson is a symbol, a heroic symbol, not just for Dodger fans, not just for sports fans, but really for all Americans, whether they're Jewish or non-Jewish.
You will remember me.
Jackie Robinson, a black man in white baseball.
I want you to know I'm there for you.
In my heart.
Think about the abuse that he's gonna take.
Your enemy will be out in force, but you cannot meet him on his own low ground.
What you gonna do if one of these pictures throws through your head?
I'll duck.
Mark my words and circle this date. Negroes are gonna run the white man straight out of baseball.
This ain't the America I know. You hear me?
If they knew you, they would be ashamed.
If Robinson can help us win, then he is going to play on this ball club.
You don't belong here, and you never will.
Get off the field.
Brooklyn Dodgers ain't changing our way of living.
You're wearing me down.
You are not the only one with something at stake here.
You want a player who doesn't have the guts to fight back?
No, I want a player who's got the guts not to fight back.
You give me a uniform. You give me a number on my back. I'll give you the guts.
I father, I Brooklyn Dodger them. I jack, I rob, I sin. Oh man, I'm Jackie Robinson. Except when I run base, I dodge the pen.
I'm a first-generation American. Both my parents are Holocaust survivors. And I grew up in New Jersey as a Yankee fan. And fell in love with baseball as my professional career grew. I was involved in a number of sports, but baseball always remained my first love. And I had an opportunity to do that running all the sports teams in Atlanta for Ted Turner. Then I moved to Washington, possibly the most important city in the world. And that was a blast also. But coming to LA, with all the things I've done and all the postseasons I've been involved with and all the thrills I've had, this is the most fun I've ever had in my life, being able to be associated with the Dodgers, contributing to the restoration of a brand that important in the media and entertainment capital of the world. This is the most fun I've ever had in my life. Jewish fans are sports fans. It's interesting that when there was an influx of immigrants in the 50s, they really did adopt American sports as a way of assimilating into American culture. That is an absolutely confirmed phenomenon, and that has continued through generations. And I've spoken to friends who are non-observant as well as friends who are Orthodox or even Hasidic, who all kind of have a commonality in following American sports.
Sandy completed one of the greatest seasons ever. 2 World Series victories, 25 regular season wins, 11 shutouts, 1 no-hitter, and oh yeah, how about the Cy Young and MVP awards? Yes, 1963 remains the first and only year a World Series had been clinched by the Dodgers at home.
The last couple of years have been bumpy for a lot of reasons on and off the field. We are trying, little by little, to do things that bring their identity back to the good old days, what the Dodgers were. I always like to say here, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. All I have to do is restore the Dodgers, to bring them back to what they once were, following the examples. And those examples are excellence on the field, excellence in this magnificent stadium and the fan experience, and excellence within the community with all the things we do, with all the outreach that we have throughout our community, across all demographic levels. And I don't know that we're there yet, but I think we're making good progress toward getting back to where the Dodgers once were. The most important thing I can say about the physical change is that if you're sitting in your seat and have been comfortable here for 50-some years, you're not going to notice any difference. That vista that we're all so familiar with, that fans throughout the world are familiar with, our bleachers, our palm trees, and the San Gabriel Mountains behind it, that will not change. We've added scoreboards, and they're going to be about 20% larger, but they'll look very much like the old scoreboards. They'll just be completely different in terms of what they can provide. They're HD, larger video, and all of that. So you'll feel as comfortable as you've ever felt. But we're going to have Wi-Fi and cell phone service here, which we didn't have before. We're going to have more and modern restrooms and more concession stands, wider concourse, things like that that will enable us to enjoy the game as much as we ever have, only make it more comfortable and more in keeping with a 21st century experience. Well, thank you for having me. I'm having a blast, and I think we're doing something that's going to make the Jewish community and all the other members of our community very proud. That's what we're hoping.